It's still spinning and we're live.
Hi, welcome to StockinetteZombies. I'm Amy, also known as J-Nipma.
I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It, and this is episode 346.
Yay.
One last one for 2021.
Oh my gosh. Don't remind me. That and my vacation's almost over.
Oh, yeah. Quentin was asking, when do we go back to school? I don't know if it was like he was missing school. I don't think that was it. I think it was like, how much longer do I have? And we were like, almost a week, right? Yeah. We've got Sandy, Randy, Sarah, Claire, Alicia, Susie out there saying hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, it's the Twixmas. I am on my staycation and I haven't been traveling anywhere. Various family members are not feeling well, and so we're just like, okay, I guess it's a holiday away from friends and family, but hanging out and gonna go see the new Matrix movie this afternoon with some friends, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that's available on streaming too, right?
HBO Max.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that we watched it, so I was like, it's available on streaming. But movie theater would be awesome too, to see it on the big screen.
Well, and we don't have HBO Max anymore, and again, it's probably cheaper to just grab HBO Max for the month. But some friends invited us, so I was like, okay, sure, we'll go.
It definitely warrants a second viewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is why I was glad that we did the HBO Max one, because it's like, what? And then you want to go back and anyway, sorry.
You want to rewind, is what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, you want to rewind, and you also want to, like, knowing what you know at the end, you want to kind of rewatch it, which are some of my favorite movies. But yeah.
Well, I know nothing, which I've been very excited that I know nothing.
Yeah. Well, again, and it's one of those things where somebody was like, I don't even remember where the last one ended, but they did a very good job because of the switch between the time between the two, that they kind of do some like flashbacks to remind you of what happened and why things are happening, which is kind of like a cheater, but it's nice because I didn't have to watch the whole, trilogy.
Well, yeah, and I was gonna, like, I only remember the first one really well. And then like, oh, how did it all end and all that? So yeah, I don't know. So
yeah. So they do a pretty good job. Neil Patrick Harris is awesome. Okay. Why can't I think of his name? That was Olaf, or not Olaf, in the it's not Josh Gad. Oh, okay. It's from Frozen. He's the main guy, the love interest in Frozen.
I don't know who that actor is.
But somebody in the things will, but he did a fantastic job. Job. So
is it Christoph?
Yes, the name? It's Christoph is the character I couldn't think of, but the voice actor that did Christoph. Okay. He did a really great job. I love both of them. And it's driving me insane that I can't think of the guy's name. Anyway, he was the king.
We're both wearing love notes, aren't we?
This is actually Renaud.
Oh, no, yes, that's right.
But yeah, he was also the king in Hamilton. If that helps anybody. I feel like we're playing password and we're losing.
Golf.
John Golf. Anyway, Jonathan Golf. Anyway, we're losing.
I'm pretty sure that's the last.
We've wasted so much time. I could have brought my phone up and looked. Yeah, but
it's okay. This is what it was like before we had
before the internet times. Yes.
This was, like going to college bars, like nobody knew anything and couldn't just bring it up on their phone.
Yes. Yeah. Jonathan Groff.
Oh, I needed an R in there.
Yeah. Anyway, they both did fantastic, and I love both of them as actors, so that's fantastic as well. Cool. But yeah, anyway, filling the time. I am actually working So you saw my eyes go over to my work laptop and getting so much done. It's so fabulous. The meeting schedule is low. I'm just like knocking things. I'm a to-do list person, right? So just knocking things off of the to-do list, which is fabulous. And that's bringing me joy. So it's not like I'm begrudgingly working. It's like I'm getting joy out of it. So
there's so many things in my line of work that I've learned that if I do them too early, I have to redo them. So I have so much, like, I'm a person that likes to get things done and check them off of lists, but I kind of need to be a procrastinator because otherwise I'm gonna have to redo. It's frustrating because those tween times or whatever, right? When you have low meetings, and everybody's on vacation, so you get low emails. Yeah. I'm always sitting there going, well, I could work on this. Yeah, but that's not due for 3 weeks, then it's gonna change. And then, oh, I could work on this.
I think everybody, I've mentioned it in the VKNs, but I've got a ton of open positions in my unit. So this is stuff that I'm not going to have to redo, right? I've got to schedule interviews and set things up and do pre-screenings and all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah.
And now that everything's remote, you can interview people from all over the place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. A little administrative before we get started. Hopefully your needles are at ready. We've got the trough KAL, which I think I saw Bunnyfish in the comments after we did the whole who's currently talking with us. And we're doing the trough, which is it sounds like the trough, but it's inspired by that, right? Like that V that a trough makes. I don't know if I'm not pronouncing it, like enunciating as much, but there was a couple of questions. If you go out and you post a picture of the yarns that you've picked out to knit it, we're going to sprinkle patterns amongst those people. So make sure that you go out and show that you're committed, you're going to do it. And we'll draw for those early next week, not on the podcast. So excited about that one. Again, I posted my 2 yarns that I've picked out that are hand spun by Jenna. They are Fun Rage, which is fitting, I feel. And I'm super excited about that. And yes, you have the schlub. Yeah.
So
that is exciting.
Through what will fit in our KAL bonus points. And
it's true.
Found 2 that looked good together.
Yeah. Get your entries in to the Comfy Cozy Craft Along because we'll be drawing those next week. Super excited about that one as well. I have been using my little knitting barber things so much. Like I feel like every project I've somehow found a reason to have those at ready and use them. So those are in there. There's some yarn, and I think we'll give away some logo merchandise as well. So lots of fun prizes there. And then last but certainly not least, the self-striping KL is kicking off at the beginning of the year. I've got all of that yarn that I showed off last week at ready. I think I saw Michelle of Wool and Nosh in the comments as well. So she's got some fabulous self-striping. In fact, I picked up some, even though I have a bin full. I love her base, her darky base. And then I also think I picked up Targi, and what was the other one? Cormo? No, there's another base that I was intrigued by. What? Corriedale. Boom.
Yep. No, I definitely went through and found all the ones that would count for the KL. Because we had a self-striper vendor a couple times, right? So I have those that I purchased at the marketplace many moons ago. And then because we had Show Me Yarns and fishnets, right? So I have those that I purchased at the vendor marketplace. And then I was trying to think, I know we have somebody that does. So, it's Jenna. Of course, Jenna. So I have a bunch of Jennas.
And I've been hoarding Jenna. Like I have like Care Bear with Fangs that I bought at the very beginning of, us podcasting, and I've just been hoarding it. And I'm like, okay, I was really successful this year. Sorry, this is kind of getting into some of the 2022 aspirations, but I was really successful this year with kind of keeping that heartbeat of mixing in the older yarn with the new yarn and stirring the stash. Thank you, Tiffany, who's also in the comments for that phraseology. I'm hoping to do that again. So again, that'd be a really easy check off 2 things, right? The self-striping KL and some yarn that has been marinating way too long in the stash. So
yeah, I know that anytime I say stirring the stash to somebody who hasn't heard of it or isn't familiar with us and our becans and whatnot, they're like, that's a really good term, like, because that's what you're doing, right?
It gives you that visual, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you're bringing the stuff from the bottom up to the top.
Yeah.
That's what's stirring it. Oh no.
I can hear you.
Okay. Something happened and it says reload and I lost you. So hold on. Okay, I'm back. Oh my gosh, that was so weird. Like
too much stirring, you bumped something. Yeah.
No, I didn't. It just went bloop and put a message up and I was like, oh no, I lost you.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, but we can talk about
FOs,
New Year's stuff next year.
Right. We were talking about FOs this time, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I've got a pile because I was like full on polygamy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. And I've gone full on monogamy now, and it feels like things are going so fast.
Oh, yes.
Because again, when you're spreading your love over lots of different projects, each one of them progresses, but you don't see a ton of progress, right? So I cast on a sweater after I finished up all my Advent projects, and it feels like a bam sweater.
Yeah.
So anyway, show me your FOs. I'm excited to see them.
Okay, so I made that muscle
burrow.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's got 2. This was a kit from Lady Di. It was Star Trek themed. Mm-hmm. So we've got kind of a beautiful fall colors. And
I love that the little color peeks out.
Yes, that was semi-intentional. Yeah. I will say that for this pattern, it's very loosey, like kind of like not as fitted. And so so I think I would probably go down a size from what this one was just to get a tighter fit. So I guess if you're reading the pattern and whatever, go for negative ease for sure. Because
and again, maybe I'm projecting here because I have a hat that's kind of similar. It's just that tube, right?
Right.
With the love always. But once you start, like, if you knit it long enough to like fold up, then that starts to get real tight. So maybe the positive ease if you're planning on folding up the brim and having 4 layers.
But even then, like, again, I don't
have the link, but doesn't that seem a little tighter though? Yeah.
What?
Doesn't that seem a little tighter though? Mm-hmm. No? Okay. Okay.
So again, and there's no cables. I mean, yours had cables, and so like True. This is just straight stockinette. There's
self-cinching. Yeah.
And so this does get kind of bell-shaped as well, right? From even though this is a straight tube from the top, it does seem to get a little belled. Again, it's just a warning. I went with the size that I thought my head was, thinking that I wouldn't have to incorporate negative ease, but I'm bad at reading patterns. Maybe there's a tip or trick in there that says that I should have done negative ease. I should have done negative ease.
Yeah.
But it's very warm. And I did, like, when I finished it, wore it for like 3 days straight in the house. Just as an extra, like, oh, this is so cozy.
Yeah. I was actually chatting with Matt and James about that hat pattern. Whatever. Oh, and I was like, how would you pronounce this? And they were like, I think they said Musselburgh. And I was like, well, it makes sense because we say Pittsburgh, right? But I swear somebody said borough. Maybe that's more of an English pronunciation, which is where she's from.
Yeah.
So
So I got hat and peak. So now we're venturing to Canada, right? Max is from Canada.
I love those colors.
Yes, and this is the kit from Farmer's Daughter's Fibers, and so it's the recommended yarn for the pattern. I really love this so much. I believe it's Rambouillet. Oh, it's so nice. And some of hers are exclusively Montana Rambouillet. So I really like this. It is so squishy and rustic, but soft. I love it. And then I made it over like a super palm, I guess, because it's so heavy. And I can tell that I have a density that's a lot higher than what they did in the pattern, right? So very dense palm.
But it's fun. I like the multicolor.
Yeah, that was in the pattern. I saw that in their picture and thought, oh, I got to make one of those. And there's definitely plenty of yarn to do so and make it nice and full. And I used my Clover pom-pom maker for that, the largest one I own. And so that's that, and I really like it.
Did that one replace the previous hat that you've been wearing now around the house?
Oh no, this one is very snug, and I like it. And it, I don't know.
Warm, right?
Warm.
Yeah.
But also the other one, again, it's so loose, it doesn't feel like you're wearing anything, but you have this nice warm, I don't know. I liked it for that reason, but I wore it outside a few times and didn't like it. So it might be an indoor hat, whatever.
Indoor hat, indoor cat?
Yeah. So I finished this, whatever we call it, this blanket shawl. It's actually a blanket.
Really long blanket, right?
It's a very nice rectangle. So like I was saying, it's a very long rectangle.
Yes.
But it's a very, very cozy blanket. So you
could be like a table runner or like the back of a couch decorative.
Yes. It's very long and skinny. Again, planning. I must have thought that I didn't have enough to do the next size up. So I went with the smaller size, and then I totally had enough.
But it looks like you can use it though, right? Yeah.
I mean, this is probably the throw size, and it's twice that big. So I'm doubled over. Super cozy. It's still perfect, right? Even though I messed up. And then
it's perfectly what you had the yarn to do, and what you figured out a way to use it, right?
Yeah. Well, and so I also failed to enter it in time because I saw the Eat Sleep Knit said the Fiber Flock won, or whatever, they announced the winner of the stuff, and I was like, oh no, I still have another thing to enter. But we weren't that close. Second place.
You were the differentiator, I'm telling you.
Mm-mm.
Do you get the points for holding it double?
The star count was way high. They beat us by a lot. But that's okay. I just wanted to actually complete it because it's the first time I've gotten all 4 in a year, right? Like it's a quarterly KL, and I drop off at some point, or there's one that I'm not interested in. And I was like, no, I actually did them all this time. So I entered it. Hopefully the kitties give me credit just so I can see the credit, even though it doesn't count for anything. And they call their employees kitties. I'm not, that's just what they call them.
Okay. I thank you for clarifying, because I had no idea what you meant, but I was like, oh.
Okay.
Kitties are giving you credit. Okay.
Yes. Like they have the
logo, the cat.
Their website is cats, right? They have cats on their website, and I believe that they say the kitties have calculated the blah blah blah. So whenever their employees have done something, sometimes it's the kitties. But anyway,
got it.
I also finished my antler.
Wow! Yay, you got to the fun part and flew.
Yes. Well, I mean, it still was so boring to get to there. I was getting really frustrated, but with not much to do, I did get all monogamy on this and made sure that it was done, because it was getting really close to, I don't know, just, wanting to cast on all the things. And so I was like, no, just focus, get this done. The bubble cardigan is so far from getting done. I was like, nope, we'll just go with the worsted weight one and get it done. So I'm hoping
sweater fly.
But yeah, so
I love it.
Very nice. It's cozy, it's rustic. I would say that some people might find it like hard to wear, but it's not. It's not. Just once you put it on, you're just like, oh yes, oversized sweatshirt, sweater. It's really nice. And I was correct. That's what it is. Like, it's not too big, it's not crazy. It's just a nice cozy sweatshirt.
Awesome.
And that one was the Barrett Wool Co., which is Susan B. Anderson's company.
Yeah. Most of mine, like, again, to the initial touch, maybe just like the first time you put it on, I'm kind of like, eh. But then, yeah, eventually it becomes like, oh, what was the problem? Right. I mean, it's never going to be cashmere.
Well, right.
But it also,
I mean, the back of the hand test for me, it's perfect. Little bit on the cheek, it's like, okay, I can kind of, but once it's on your body, it's just cozy.
Yep.
And that's the Wisconsin woolen spun.
Yeah.
Because they do have a merino too. But the Wisconsin woolen spun is the one that I prefer to buy.
Yeah. I think I get the fingering weight. Don't they have a fingering weight version of that?
Yes. Yeah. And I have knit things out of that as well. I
love it for color work.
On a worsted kick lately.
Yeah.
And like there's this jacket from Brooklyn Tweed has a really beautiful jacket that they put on their website. Or was it Hudson Co? Brooklyn Tweed, I think. Brooklyn Tweed. Okay. Anyway, so I bought some more Barrett Wool to make that jacket. Because
of course you can.
Well, now that I'm out of it, I don't have any more.
Yeah, no, I get that, right? Like, I've used some of my stuff recently, the use it or lose it older stuff that's like, oh, it's not available anymore. And if I had actually used it, I probably would have, bought more.
Yeah, no, definitely love the Rambouillet, like I said, from Farmer's Daughter's Fiber. I believe it's even American milled. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, and I put it on backwards. You can see where the change is.
Jog? The chickadee jog is?
Yeah, I was jogging. There we go. Goodbye, jog. And and yeah, so now I'm down to just the bubble cardigan and a couple socks that had been hanging out. And I'm like, who am I? I don't have very many things to work on.
Well, we can't say it's truly Freaky Friday because I'm no longer, as I mentioned, I'm no longer polygamous. I've got one thing on the needles that I'm working on. So,
hey, and if it wasn't for RKAL, you know how many projects I would have right now?
So we were talking about the ZKKAL.
Yeah, the Zombie Knit Apocalypse KAL that we host every year for the attendees.
I said January 1.
I know, January 1st, we know it. Cast on all the things. And then this year with the holiday landing on a Saturday, we get Monday off. So there's like 3 whole days of knitting. I'm super excited. I'm going to cast on all the things. I think I've got like at least 5 things like in bags ready to go. I'm so excited. And like I said, I only have a few things to knit on while I'm waiting. So I have the bubble cardigan and I have my nosh that you bought me. And
cornucopia.
Yep, cornucopia. And then I have a project that's actually sitting at work. So I can't even work on that one. So I have 3 projects. 2 of which are here. One that's not here. Yeah.
Look at you go. Look at you go.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have a million things. So
you have quite a few. So I finished this sweater, I think shortly after our last FO. So I think we took Thanksgiving off. So now it's been like 5 weeks. So I've got quite a pile, but this was my November Use It or Lose It. It's coming out really green. I think I held it up last on the camera. It looks really green. It's actually a really nice kind of scummy green with some yellows popping. You're seeing very grassy green, which it is not. But this was some Briar Rose. It came in a really big hank. I think it was like 560 yards of sport. And it was like in a bin. And I found 2 that looked like they could go into a sweater together at Rhinebeck. And they came home with me, like all twisted together into kind of a pseudo yarn baby. It was like two big skeins to create one big one. And again, you're not going to catch it as much, but this right here is kind of a half brioche. So you're doing the brioche motion on one round, and then the next you're just knitting them or knitting and purling them. Sorry. So it's not a full brioche where like if you flipped it on the backside, it doesn't look like brioche. It just looks like ribbing. And that played with the colors changing a lot. And then there's it interspersed with this just kind of simple lace there. I wore it at Christmas. You can kind of see it was interesting. Again, it's really homogenizing it on the screen. How's that for a $5 word there? But the cuffs are much darker than this. But again, and I was going for, when we were talking with Alexa, sorry, my thing is going to alert now, sorry, of Tin Can Knits. She was wearing something that had a really like almost her whole forearm of ribbing. So I was going for more ribbing than I normally do, which is not in the pattern. Also modifications I made. You're supposed to knit the sleeves from the bottom up, probably to match the lace work. But I was like, I'm not doing a set-in sleeve because I modified the depth a little bit as well. And I'm like, I'm not going to try to figure this out. So I just picked up and did a short row and started incorporating some of and centered the panel. So again, Megan modified it, right?
Yeah, no, I get it. Like, you're like, I already modded enough, and then I got to mod some more to accommodate the mods.
It's very like it wants to cinch up with some of that, with those kind of tucked stitches of the half brioche. But when I put it on, it is really quite long on me. It just kind of in its natural wool state. It's a very kind of bouncy, plump sport. So the pattern is also written up for worsted, and I got even more less stitches per inch than the worsted called for on a bigger needle with this yarn. So there was a lot of figuring out sizes and gauge math and whatever, but I absolutely love it. It's, the color of my heart with this green. The neck line fits really well. The sleeves fit really well. It was kind of a like kismet moment, I guess, with, because I can't remember I should remember because I said I was going to thank people. Somebody gifted me the pattern way back when. So in addition to being really old, well marinated, not old, stash, it was also a pattern that had been in my library for quite some time as well. So Dock Light, love it. It's gonna get tons of wear. And it's a little warm, but like also lets air in, if that makes sense with the lace. And then we've got the Advent knitting that I've wrapped up. So this is my Woolens and Nosh Advent. If you've not finished it in the days that it was for, it's a spoiler alert, I guess. But came in that fun little bag with the 2 center pole skeins. And you can see this is the full repeat. So this pink to that pink. And I will admit to working ahead on these. I was like, once I figured out that like, okay, I'm not going to get to the origami moment before the end of the 25 days. I did work ahead and do some extra stripes. But kind of trippy and cool, right? Like it's rainbow-esque, but it's not like a full-on rainbow, through here. And absolutely love them. This is that same base that your cornucopia is out of. And it's just so squishy. Yeah. Squishy.
Yeah,
I also got yeah, I also got an error skein. So I got towards the end where she had some extras. Michelle had some extras. And so I actually kind of like that there are places where the white line didn't go all the way around, because my error was that there's not like a white stripe in between two of the stripes, right? So it just kind of looks purposeful.
Yep.
Doop, doop. But yes, this has definitely ignited my, okay, this elf striping. Let's go. I did as you know, I am a lather, rinse, repeat. I was very jealous of your hat, so I did cast on a couple more of my design. This is with your hand spun held double, which I absolutely love how it knit up. And this is again a larger size, as you can tell. So it's very big on me. But absolutely love how the hand spun turned out. And then this is leftovers from my granito and another sweater. And again, I love how you can see how it stripes a little, the dark and light plays here. It almost makes like that center part flicker a little bit if you're looking at it quickly. So I need to have my pattern photo shoot with these, and then get them off to like sprinkle them amongst the world, right? You get a hat. I only need to come up with a name.
Okay.
So send ideas through the ether to me. Yep. So got two of those. Again, I put them on my head, but I didn't show the love it. Yes. So but I'm working on some color work right now, and it's making me extremely happy. And then last are my two V-neck scrappy V's, sorry. My first that I'm going to hold up here, which is very dramatic. Again, hopefully you've opened your yarn and you've looked at it next to itself, but this is my Suburban Stitcher. And it went from dark to light to dark to light to dark again. So you kind of got those main, those pops of the darker color. And I'll show you the back here. I thought I did pretty good job weaving in the ends. And then the green at the cuffs and the bottom really just make me so happy. So yes, it's a very fun, I'm going to wear the heck out of these. Fingering weight sweaters are my jam. So it ended up a little longer than I intended. But again, not too long. My math, I think I got a little looser down in the main body with all of that just stockinette in the round than I was up here, which doesn't make a lot of sense, because generally when you're knitting flat with that back and forth short rows, I feel like my purl rows are a little looser, but for whatever reason, maybe I just got into like a jam of, I'm just knitting 8 rows of each color. It got looser, and then the row gauge changed quite a bit. Like the circumference didn't, but it grew a lot longer than the rest of it. So maybe that does make sense.
I don't know. I mean, that and like just your mood, right? Like, if you're just, I don't know, holiday knitting, it's
yes. So again, Diane's in the comments. Yes, I love it too. I can't imagine these minis and anything else, although I do have quite a few that I plan to use for the ZKKAL. Because I think this only ends up being like, I think it was like 1,200 yards. So, you do the math. There's a lot left over. They're very pretty, but yes, so much fun. So glad that I decided to make 2 of them too, because this is very different. The Queen City one is very different, but I love it all the same.
Ooh,
so again,
very
kind of
excited.
as you were mentioning, it starts out with a color and then it's kind of a riff off of that color, but maybe not as much of a gradiating to dark or light. So yes, love it. This one I actually only did the 24 because the last one was a full skein and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I'm going to make something Christmassy with it.
Yes, it's very Christmassy.
It is very
and
Christmassy.
It's bright and yeah.
Yeah. So I started the ribbing the day earlier on this one. I ended up with 2 colors on the ribbing for both, but this one's only got 24 minis in it versus the 25 of the Suburban Stitcher. So yes. And again, just a very different look, right? Like, I mean, you can see that they're a similar like neckline and that it's scrappy, but they're very different sweaters. And it's the first time that I've knit something like this in parallel together and basically finished at the same. It was like, bam, bam, sweater. So
that took a lot of commitment. I applaud you.
It did. Although I feel like knitting the whole mini skein into the Radvent was probably more knitting because I was able to work on other things other than the socks and the 2 sweaters. So I was like full on polygamy.
Yeah. Well, in the bubble cardigan, I think I'm going to need to use all of those minis. And right now, because it's kind of a really oversized cardigan, I feel like I'm knitting on the final row of a shawl. It's so like daunting to get through one color on that cardigan right now. Yeah. And with the first what do I want to say? The first row of the repeat is so time consuming because you have to count down. So if you want to hit the right hole every time, you have to go, okay. It's a lot of
like orient yourself on that setup row. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very slow. And so I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Again, once I joined to the body, I was so excited. And then I got through so many of them and I was like, oh, this is a lot. So
yeah, no, this was again, I used the heck out of those knitting barber cords because I think I counted, I had 6 individual sites going at one time once I separated for the sleeves, right? So, and I had 4 number 5 needles, which is what this is knit on. So I was swapping the ones for the sleeves back and forth. And again, when I was trying it on, it was good to have the main one to make sure that it wasn't getting too long. Try on as you go. But yes, yeah, gonna get a ton of wear, and I'm just absolutely in love with everything that I've knit recently. This was so much fun to do. I don't know that I'll commit to 2 full sweaters in Advent future, but it was a lot of fun, and I absolutely love them. And again, kismet that Jamie was our speaker and kind of came into my, oh yeah, that would be fun to do. So
very cool.
Lots of leftovers, lots of scrappies to do something with our KAL as well.
Yeah. I keep looking at like, well, I got the pattern that came with the Queen City. And so I'm waiting for a few of those to finish up so that I can see what they look like. Maybe I'll knit one of those. I don't know.
I'm going to show my current whip because it's going to get done so fast. This is what I'm full on. I'm full on monogaming.
Whoa.
Love it. It's my last use it or lose it for this year. So this was the Malabrigo that I bought at the very beginning of our podcasting. I can't remember what micron it is, but it is very soft. It's like the softest yarn I've ever knit with. Pure super fine merino finito. Do you remember me getting this? I think I can't remember. It's like equal parts cool too, because it's sometimes you look at it and like this is showing it really blue. Sometimes it's a very green gray. It's green all the time, but I'm so in love with it. It's going to be finished before, so you'll see it in the FO
Yeah,
next
no,
demo.
I remember the finito, like when you first discovered it, you had bought quite a bit.
I hope that it wears well and washes well.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot when I went out and looked on Ravelry of like past folks. So I'm going to treat it with, baby hands to make sure that it's, well,
that, and you put all that work into it. It's quite the all over color work.
Yeah. So this is the unwind gal. I can't remember. It's not, my mind wants to go Unwind Fiber Company. I think it's like Unwind Designs or Unwind.
Okay.
Anyway, she did the night book and a couple of other ones, Bridgerton, that are on my list. So she does a lot of, so like Jen Steinglass, I feel like she has the heavier weight sweaters kind of intermixed, and most of hers are fingering weight, this Unwind design. And that's my happy spot with colorwork sweaters. So
yeah, I have a lot on my wish list, or not wish list, my needle adjacent. There we go.
Yeah.
So I am excited to get my naps started January 1st. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be so much fun. I know that there's a lot of people that are kind of treading water right now, waiting for that January 1 to kick off. So love the kind of pent up excitement behind that. And then just going to put 2 plugs out there. Make sure that you're on Discord. Make sure you go out and post what you're going to knit your trough with, so that we can get you a prize. And also, we're going to vote on what color Queen City is going to dye for our dye day. So that'll be coming to a Discord thread near you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
We have been chatty today.
Yes. Bye.
Bye, Uvda.